Mayor Kumas, members of council, I'm Jim Golden, the city's Director of Finance. This is one of our taped presentations of our priority-based budgeting updates. Priority-based budgeting is an approach to budgeting that we've undertaken over the last few years that evaluates our city programs against the desired results that were identified by the City Council, as well as some key program attributes that are a part of priority-based budgeting. The desired results that were identified by the City Council for the organization for community programs were vibrant amenities and opportunities for all, safe community, a reliable, innovative, and resilient infrastructure, and thriving economic climate. And on this slide, you could see the weighting that was applied to these four desired results by our community through community input that was gathered in 2014. The desired results for governance programs were also identified by the City Council, and they include ensuring timely, responsive, and efficient operations, supporting city operations to be their best, providing clear, inclusive, transparent leadership and collaboration, and developing and maintaining strong partnerships, following local, state, and federal rules, regulations, and mandates, protecting, investing in, and valuing the city's human and physical capital, and prudently managing and responsibly leveraging public funds. Besides these desired results, all of the city's programs are measured against program attributes. And the priority-based budgeting program attributes were identified by the Center for Priority-Based Budgeting that pioneered this approach. The attributes that are used include the mandate to provide a program, reliance on the city to provide the program, the cost recovery of the program, and the portion of the community that is served by the program. So each of our programs are measured against each of these four attributes, as well as their ability to impact the desired results. We have, citywide, we have 1,244 programs that have been identified in this process. 527 of those are in the general fund. And then within those 1,244, we have 737 distinct programs. So we have a number of programs that are offered in multiple areas of the city, different funds as well as divisions and departments. So there is some repetition, but overall there's 737 distinct programs. Also, these 1,244 programs can be broken down that 1,082 of them are community-oriented, while the remaining 162 are governance-type programs. After all the programs are scored against the desired results and the attributes, they are then given an overall score, and they are then placed in quartiles, quartile 1 through 4, with the highest scoring programs placed in the first quartile and the lowest scoring programs placed in the fourth quartile. And they are placed across these four quartiles through a process of standard deviation. So what we're doing is we have been presenting priority-based budgeting updates to the council. We did our first 3 in person. We're taping the balance of the remaining 10 presentations, and so you'll be getting 10 different priority-based budgeting updates taped delivered to you. We have focused on 3 of the attributes through the presentations that we made to the council. The remaining updates will be on the last attribute and the 9 desired results that were identified. And we'll go through, take each of the updates, we'll go through how each program is influencing the attributes or the results. So this is the priority-based budgeting update number 9, and this is actually the first of the government definitions or desired results. It's responsive, timely, efficient operations support city services to be their best. Now, the City Council identified these 7 result definitions to to define the overall desired result for governance of responsible internal operations and governance. A couple of these 7 have been combined so that we could, for ease in the scoring process. So we actually will have 5 different definitions that support this governance desired results of responsible internal operations and governance. Program scoring against each of these results measures whether a program influences these results and their successful accomplishment of the desired result. So each of the programs are scored against these desired results, and it's again a score from 4 to 0, the highest score being 4, meaning that a program has an essential or critical role in achieving the result. And that means that it would be extremely difficult, if not impossible, for the city to accomplish this desired result if it did not offer the program. A 3 indicates that a program has a strong influence on achieving the desired result. And a 2 score is that the program has some degree of influence on achieving the result. A 1 score indicates that a program only has a minimal influence on achieving the result. Now, that indicates that even though there is some influence on the result from the program, the city really could achieve the overall desired result even if it did not offer that individual program. And of course, a score of 0 means a program has no influence at all on achieving the result. Okay, so this here is the summary chart, and we break this down by the city's organizational structure with departments and small divisions, offices, as we have broken down our structure. So we have departments as large as power and communications and public works and natural resources, and then we have offices like the city attorney and the city manager. You can find these all on this chart. So you'll see that in governance, we only have 162 programs for governance with a total budget of $20.75 million. This is citywide. So there's not as many programs, certainly not as many programs in budget as we have for community-oriented programs. But what you also find is that some of our departments do not even have any governance-related programs, and those are, you'll see here, the ones that are slightly shaded in a darker color, including municipal court probation, power and communications, and public safety. So you can see in the total column, they show no programs, no cost. So most of your governance programs you'll find are in the larger areas such as finance with 38 programs, and public works and natural resources with 34 programs, and shared services has 48 programs and actually has over half of the budget with $10.8 million. Shared services includes fleet services and ETS, which are both very high budgets because of the capital involved in those areas. So we're going to highlight first looking at the number of programs beginning in the column. The first column for the programs being essential to the result, and you see that shared services has the leading amount of programs that are essential to the result with 25 programs. And this is, again, the result of efficient operations. Finance has a strong influence on the result with the leading amount of programs with 4 programs. And then both finance and shared services have the most programs that have some influence on the result with 11 programs each. Programs that have some influence on the result, though minimal, public works and natural resources has 11 programs leading in that area. And then finally, where programs have no influence on the efficient operations result, there's 9 programs leading in the finance area. And now looking at the cost of programs, again going back to the first column, programs being essential to the result, $5.1 million of programs and shared services is the highest cost. Programs having a strong influence on the result, again, shared services with a little over $1 million worth of programs. And then programs having some influence on the result, shared services at $4.57 million is the leading cost in that area as well. Then where we move into programs have some influence on the result, though minimal influence, finance is got $526,000 of those type of programs. And finally, where programs have no influence on the result, $658,000 leading costs from, again, the finance department. Okay, so now what we're going to do, well, first, we're going to concentrate now on the general fund only. So the general fund has 121 governance programs out of that 162 or so. So 121 are in the general fund, and they account for $13.65 million of their budget. And we're going to look at the RAD Tool shots, the Resource Alignment Diagnostic Tool, look at the screenshots for the general fund for those programs, dealing with the general fund's program's influence on the efficient operations desired result. So this here is the RAD Tool screen for, well, first of all, you can find these screens within the prioritization update that we've provided with this taping, and it begins, I believe, on page 11 of the prioritization update is where you will find this same screenshot. So this screenshot is showing programs that are essential to the efficient operations result. We have 35 programs, and they total $6.1 million. That's 44.7% of the general fund's governance programs total budget. So this is just looking at the total governance programs. So you'll notice that on the graph, we have $2.6 million for 18 programs that fall into quartile 1, which means that overall score against all of the attributes and the governance results, these programs fall into the first quartile of scoring, the highest quartile. In the second quartile, we have $2.4 million of cost for 14 programs, and then there are $1,065,000 for 3 programs that fall into quartile 3. So again, these are for programs that are essential to the efficient operations desired result. I'm now going to change filter, and we'll go take a look at those programs that have a strong influence on the efficient operations desired result. So we have, again, now we have 11 programs in this area from the general fund's governance area. We have $778,000 of a budget, which is only 5.7% of the total general fund governance budget of $13.6 million. So there's 2 programs that fall into the first quartile for $379,000. 6 programs in the second quartile, that's $140,000. And 2 programs in the third quartile for $231,000. And we actually have 1 program in the fourth quartile here at $26,800. Change the filter once more to the next scoring level, which is a score of 2, which is where programs have some influence on the desired result of efficient operations. So in this case, you see that we have 34 programs for $4.6 million overall. That's 33.8% of the general fund's governance programs budget. Breaking them down by quartile, we have 4 programs in the first quartile, just a total of $424,000 there. 11 in the second quartile for $817,000.
But you see in the third quartile is where most of the dollars are. There are 17 programs for $3.27 million and just over 100,000 for 2 programs in the fourth quartile. Change the filter once more. Okay, so now we're looking at those programs that have a minimal influence on the efficient operations result. 24 programs at $1.2 million, 8.76% of the general fund governance programs budget. We have 1 of those programs that falls into the first quartile at $169,000. 2 of them in the second quartile, they total $27,000. And then 6 programs in the third quartile for $255,000, and 15 programs in the fourth quartile, $744,000. So what you're finding is, particularly in the governance area, we have a number of programs that will influence maybe 1, possibly 2 of the desired results, but not so many that would influence all of those desired results. And so when you fall into those type of scores, you'll notice a greater degree of these programs are falling into the third and fourth quartiles. Looking at now moving to a score of 0, which means that these programs have no influence on the desired result of efficient operations. We have 17 programs that fall into that category, $956,000, 7% of our overall governance budget. So 1 program in the first quartile at $66,000. There are none in the second quartile. You have 5 in the third quartile for $395,000 and 11 in the fourth quartile for $495,000. Again, if you're following these are all in your prioritization update. These screenshots are all from pages 11 to page 15. So what you can really draw from these last couple of screenshots is that 33.9% or 41 programs of the general fund's governance programs, and there's 121 overall governance programs. So 41 of those and 15.76% of the total budget, or $2.15 million, are for programs that have no or minimal influence on the efficient operations desired result. Okay, so finally, now, again, as I've indicated in the past, you've got lists that are accompanying your prioritization update. And these lists follow the screenshots. And actually, these are much shorter lists because of the fact there are much less governance programs. And you've only got 160 or so governance programs compared to over the 1,000 community-oriented programs. So the lists are much shorter, easier to get through probably, easier to find the programs and track them back. So there are 2 lists. One of them is for the general fund programs, general fund governance programs. The second list is much shorter. It's for all other funds for governance programs. And then they're sorted by the program scoring for how it scores against the efficient operations result, and then sorted by department and division, and also by quartile. So where the program falls, you can find the quartile 4, 3, 2, or 1. So you can use those lists to check any program to find out how it scores against these desired results. If you have questions about any of that information or anything that I've presented today, feel free to contact me. My number is 303-651-8629, or you can also reach me by email at jim.golden@longmontcolorado.gov. Thanks for your attention.